So, our next and last subtitle for today is on Union leadership. And now, again, the Union goes through a lot of different head commanders and head generals throughout the Civil War. Again, kind of the revolving door of Union commanders. But it's important that Lincoln really feels that he's running out of time at this point. Lincoln believes that he only has one term. If he only has one term as president, then he knows that he has to end the war very quickly because he's worried that the next president will be elected, come in and sign a treaty with the South, and all of this long, bloody war will completely go to waste and they will not achieve what they hoped to. Again, the Union is on board with Lincoln at this time, but he's constantly trying to kind of keep them going when a lot of people just want to end the war now and stop this fighting. So Lincoln invites Grant to DC and he names him Lieutenant General. So that makes Grant the highest ranking officer in the Union Army. Fun fact about that, he's actually only the third lieutenant general in American history at this point. Winfield Scott, who was originally the head general of the Union Army, he held that rank, but also George Washington held that rank. Another fun fact, Washington actually always holds a rank higher than the highest ranking military officer. So no one technically ever ranks the same as Washington. Anyway, moving on. He makes Grant his head commander of the Union Army, and he tells Grant to do whatever it takes to finish this war. Now, remember, Lincoln has been wanting Grant in charge for a little while. Grant is aggressive. He's shown that his tactics have some success, and he's been doing some really good things out in the Western Front. And so Lincoln finally gets Grant to be the lead commander of all of his forces. Now, you might ask yourself, what happened to General Meade? General Meade was in charge at the Battle of Gettysburg and won the Battle of Gettysburg. So why is he being kicked out? Technically, he's actually not being kicked out. General Meade is still the lead commander of the Army of the Potomac. And Sherman, W.T. Sherman, is going to be the leader of the Western Front. So Meade isn't being kicked out. Grant has just kind of leapfrogged ahead of him. And so now Grant is technically in charge of him, but Meade is still in command of the Army of the Potomac. So he's still there. So now they have kind of their command in place, and this is a lot of the same command that's going to end up winning the war. Now, at this point, the South is starting to really struggle. They're constantly having to look for more food. Things are not going great for the South. We'll see some other things that happen as well with Sherman's march to the sea tomorrow. And the South finally starts to call up all men from ages 15 through 60. So you can see how bad things are going and how much in need they are of more troops in their army. After this, Grant starts to lay siege to Petersburg, and this is really going to bring us into kind of the last days of the war and the end of the war. Petersburg, he knows, is the key to taking Richmond. Actually, 5 railroad lines intersect at Petersburg, and he knows that he has to take Petersburg as a command and transportation central, or a communication and transportation central, rather, before he can take the capital of Richmond. It's only about 24 miles away from Richmond. So he actually spends 9 months with very heavy casualties taking over Petersburg in full trench warfare. And we'll see a little bit more about that later.